Good morning. Let me make sure everything is good. We're all good this morning. How are you all? Welcome to Morning Brew with Yes, it's your girl Germaine. And it's a good day. It's a good day today. So we are in our Black History Month. Thank you, Black Tech Book has joined over on Instagram. But yes, today is confusion is expensive. That's what the brew topic is today that we're going to talk about. We're going to get into it. But before we do, what are you drinking? I'm back to my coffee. Yesterday I did hazelnut uh, cappuccino, but yes, I'm back to my hazelnut coffee today. Good morning, Anthony D450 over on Instagram. As you're chiming in, let me know you're here. Let me know you're in the community. Let's talk about some things. So, we have a little less than 2 weeks left in Black History Month. And I wanted to just highlight, give a spotlight to Black authors that have really contributed and made an impact on our history and left a legacy. And so we'll get into that further down in the brew. But I've been really talking about the power of one story, because we're gearing up in March to start offering our classes or courses over in our school community where it's open. Let me just put that up here on the screen. Our school community where it's open for anyone to join. It is open for free. Join. Everybody in life has a story. Everyone. Whether you're going to tell it, share it, whatever. I've created this community as an extension from Morning Brew, whereas we can go and we can really dive into it. You can really come into the community, share parts of your story, share the things that you may need so we can help bring your story to life. And it's not just words on a page. It is so far bigger than that. So in the next 2 weeks, we are definitely in this space where we are going to be really just getting you positioned and prepared for the power of your story. All right, but let me get into this today. Once again, today's brew: confusion is expensive. Clarity is not optional. It is infrastructure. Let's talk about it. So in this season of building platforms, classrooms, books, partnerships, and ecosystems, one of the most overlooked liabilities is confusion. I can attest to that. And here is the truth: confusion costs more than mistakes ever will. I want you to just think about that. Confusion. So think about this. When people do not understand what you do, they cannot support you. I talked about this also in another morning brew, that I had just woke up one morning and it was like clarity had it felt like it just fell on me. And I said, okay, if I'm confused, I'm confusing those that may be connected to me, those that are stopping by for, coffee and conversation. And I had a real moment of clarity for what my assignment is and what I'm putting out there in the world, that where I'm inviting people to come in and be a part of it. And so you'll see the essence you'll see in the school community. Yeah, a lot takes place in the school community, as you see me constantly talking about it, right? But let me put this on the screen because I'm talking about it, but I want you to be able also to go and connect with it. So it's scrolling on the bottom of our screen throughout the show, and it's school, SKOOL. Let me put that up here. school.com/morning brew with Germaine. I'll also share a link with you in the chat as well. But good morning, Leslie George over on YouTube, who's definitely a part of the school community, contributing her insight, her thoughts, who she is. It's a great place also to network, to meet people. So, and help further your story. All right. But I want to let me continue to just really share how confusion could become a real enemy and a real problem if you know you have something for the people. You want to make sure they get it with clarity. All right, so once again, when people don't understand, they cannot support you. When your audience cannot articulate your value, they cannot refer you. When your structure is unclear, your growth becomes unstable. Confusion is expensive because it leaks opportunity. Yes. Good morning over on YouTube, chiming in, Gwen Mentor 108. Thank you so much. Always positive. Says, this is awesome. Excited for all of us and you. Thank you, Gwen. Yes, and guys, her book is in pre-sale. You got to go get it. I'm going to be sharing that a little later. Confusion. Yes, confusion can become a real enemy of purpose. It can be. And like I stated, and I'm going to state it again, confusion can cause people to not sow into you, to not get what they need from you if you are an answer to their problem. It can also devalue your value when your audience can't articulate, so they can't refer you. They don't feel comfortable. So, and it can actually stop the growth of where you're moving into. So, confusion can become expensive. It definitely is expensive, right? And literally, you just feel like the faucet is flowing, but monies aren't. Listen, the water's not being caught in your bucket. Nope, it is a hole somewhere and it's just leaving you. Okay, so, but let's talk about it. Let's get into our section, whereas we pour a little more into purpose. So let's start pouring some. All right. So, confusion delays destiny. When you are unclear, you hesitate. Is that you? Think about it. Think about yourself. So, as we talk about these morning brew conversations and we're in this sharing space, I always want you to put yourself in that place. Do you find yourself in this message? I know I do. I'm always saying I'm the first partaker of every message, every brew that I bring forth. And like I say, if nobody shows up, it's definitely something for me that I walk away with every single day. So, as we're showing up, I want you to find yourself in the brew, right? So, confusion delays destiny. So, when you are unclear, you hesitate. When you hesitate, you stall momentum. When momentum stalls, doubt gets louder than purpose. Remember, guys, here we like to take a pause so we can pour into purpose. It's always bigger than us. Okay? So, but this is what confusion will do. It will mess with your purpose. I'm telling you, right there. It'll cause you to freeze, to stall, to stop where you are, whereas you get stuck if you can't pivot, because you're not clear yourself on what your vision is, what the purpose is, even the task at hand that you may be assigned that you have to put forth. Clarity is the answer to confusion. Okay. All right. Let's see who else. Hey, man. Hey, I like this. Confusion delays destiny. Now, this will preach. Okay. All right. Sometimes, hey, does it feel like it's my little soapbox that I'm on? I don't know. I just know that I need this information myself. myself because I have those moments of not being clear. And like I said, I had that moment where it's just like, wait a minute. If I'm not clear, what am I putting forth? That means those that are connecting with me, they can't be clear in their needs from me because I'm confusing them. And we definitely don't want to do that because what God has for you and what God has for me is so much greater than confusion could ever be to rob us of what we know we need to put out there. So let's continue to pour a little more into purpose. All right. So clarity is not about perfection, it is about direction. And like I said, clarity is the answer to confusion. Yes, being clear, having clear directions about where you're going and who's coming with you. Okay, so let's pour a little more into purpose. Confusion costs revenue. Whew, listen, we're trying to retain revenue. We're not trying to lose it because we're unsure and unclear about the direction we need to go in, right? All right. So if your offer is vague, people will continue to scroll, continue to scroll, continue to scroll. If your ecosystem is undefined, people will be disengaged. If your next step is unclear, people will not move. So mm, you do need more content. Do you need, well, you do not need more content. Let's say that. Don't just keep piling on and adding to. Mm-mm. You need clarity, communication. It has to be clear. And so, even for me, when I think about who Hope of Vision is, who the acronym I use is HOV, right? But it stands for Hope of Vision. And when I think about what has my message been, I've been a book publisher for 18 years. And over the 18 years, I have evolved. Yes, it's about evolution. You need to evolve, right? So when I think about when I first started, you know, what was the consistent thing throughout? It's always been for me about the power of one story, the power of your story, the power of your story. That has been the consistent underlying message throughout my entire building. We all have one. Now, what do we do with it, right? What do we do with the power of one story? Because I want you to think about this. Think about businesses that you engage in right now, right? Think about people that you may follow and you may learn from. I want you to think about encounters, relationships, even brands. What is the core consistent thing? It all starts from a story. One story. One story. One story. So I want you to remember that. So when you think about your story, you want to be clear. You want to control the narrative of your story and not give that power to someone else. It's yours. You lived it. You have the experiences. You have the photo to share it. You have the scars to tell. It's your story. All right. So what would it become? What is your story going to become? So even when you think nobody cares, nobody wants to know, listen, we have lived too much. We have gone through too much. We know too much about our stories that somebody does want to know. Somebody needs to know that, you know what? And you might hear it from people too. When people come to you and they say, wow, thank you so much for sharing your story. Because of your story, I was able to do this. Your story gave me so much hope to be able to come through my own situation. So I want you to really understand your story has so much power in it. And so here at HOV, Hope of Vision, our ecosystem, it is just that. So when I think about being clear and making sure I communicate clear information, even now while we're getting ready to start our classes and our courses, I have to always remember what is the foundation of what it is I'm looking to convey, right? What is my why? I have to always remember, what does my structure look like, because I'm asking people to be invited into my space so that if I can be a solution to a problem they have, to an issue they're trying to solve, then I want to make sure they can clearly walk in, open the door. Now, remember, Morning Brew is my front porch. Morning Brew is the front porch that is going to allow you to turn the knob and open the door into my HOV ecosystem, which consists of HOV Publishing, HOV Academy, HOV Media. When I think about, those are my three pillars, right? And in those three pillars, this is what's going to come forth out of those, right? So there's engagement so people can get what they need. And that's what we're doing in the school community. So this is how I'm showing up. But when you get there, you may be a little unclear. You may be a little unclear about what you may need for yourself and how you want to show up. And so that's why we're going to make it a little easier for you to be a part of our bite-sized learning community, where you can come in and just get some rich nuggets and say, oh, you know what? I can use that. Okay, now I'm seeing clearly what I might need to do for me. Or, you know what? Let me just put out there in the community, listen, this is what my needs are. This is what I'm looking for. So as I send out communication every day in the school community, my team and everything, I want you to know that it is intentional what we put out there, because we're really looking for feedback from you so you can get the answers that you need. So once again, make sure you stop by there. And you know what? Let me put this up also in the community. I want to put up how you can just stop by and join us. Is that fair enough? Yeah, so you could be a part getting your needs met, because that's what it's about. That's what it's all about. What's in it for me? Sometimes you got to be a little selfish, right? What's in it for me? All right. So, oh, thank you. I hope this really resonates with those that are stopping by for coffee. Um, when you engage with me, this is what you're going to find. I'm interested in knowing, what is your vision? What is it that you see, you are supposed to be doing? What is that purpose? So how can we, you know what? Sometimes, once again, connecting your pieces to the right piece, right? But what is it? How is it supposed to show up in the world? How would it look like showing up in the world, Hey, sometimes you just can't be afraid. You just got to move forward. Yes, so kind. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at, I want to put this in the feed, the comments. Yes, join the Morning Brew. Hold on one second. This is the link for you to click on. Hold on, I'm just grabbing that. So it makes it a little easier so you don't have to type it in. You can just click a link if you have not joined the community yet. Join the community. It is free. It is free for you to come in, gain the knowledge, get insight, get your needs met. All right. All right. So that is there. I'm going to also put it in my Instagram. Hello, Harmon Entertainment ENT group. Thank you so much. Let me put this in here for those that would like to join our community. All right, so let me get back to our pour into purpose. So this is the last part of our pour into purpose. Let's get it all out, right? Confusion weakens authority. Ooh, confusion. Mm. Authority is built on defined lanes. I just shared that. Really being clear. What are my lanes? I said my pillars, but being clear on your defined lanes. Defined lanes will create trust. Trust is so important. It is harder to rebuild trust when someone has lost your trust, right? And so trust creates stability. So important. So when you are clear about who you are, what you do, and who you serve, you no longer compete, you stand firm in authority. Okay. So I hope those pour into purpose little moments, I hope that it helped bring some clarity. If you may have been struggling in a space and you just you needed to understand a little bit about how clarity is the answer to confusion. It will solve the problem. Okay. Now, this is what I want to do. I want to take a moment, and really pay tribute to highlight a Black author spotlight, especially, oh, wrong one. That's we finishing that segment. But this week, Octavia E. Butler. What I want to do, so I want to just here on the screen. Octavia E. Butler was an American science fiction author. She received multiple Hugo and Nebula Awards and became the first science fiction writer to receive the MacArthur Fellowship. Her works, such as Kindred and the Parable series, explore themes of race, gender, and humanity. But what I want to do also regarding Miss Octavia E. Butler, I really want to talk about how she ties into this message today. So, Octavia E. Butler entered the literary world when there were very few Black women writing science fiction. The industry did not have a clear category for her voice. Publishers were uncertain where to place her, and audience were unsure about what to expect. I see that a lot, especially when I worked in the entertainment, the music industry. I saw that a lot when companies didn't know really how to position off artists. What they did was most cases they just left them on a shelf. You do not want your voice to be just left on a shelf because someone else is not clear about who you are. It is your role and your responsibility to inform them of just that, your vision. Don't leave it in the hands of somebody else, right? All right. So, but she was very clear. That's what I'm talking about. If you're very clear, it makes it hard for them to try to figure out who you are when you can express and show them exactly who you are, what your voice represents, who you represent, and what your story will be and should look like. She knew she was a science fiction writer. She knew her themes. She knew her lane. That clarity sustained her through rejection and resistance. That clarity, because she knew, it sustained her through rejection, resistance. Sometimes you have to tell people exactly who you are. And eventually, the world adjusted. Listen to this. The world adjusted to her voice instead of her adjusting to the world. So many times we fall prey into a mold of what we think the world think we should be. She made them adjust to who she was. She let her voice speak clarity of who she was. Please, please take something from this. If you feel like you're a little stuck and unsure and unclear, you be the defining factor of who you are, bringing clarity, not confusion, okay? So her novel Kindred is now considered a classic, not because it fit neatly into a pre-existing box, but because she refused to operate in confusion about who she was as a writer. Powerful. It's even more powerful when you have a story and you know exactly who you are. So she did not shrink to fit confusion. No, she built a lane wide enough for others to walk behind her. Talk about power and legacy, right? Whew, that is the power of clarity. Be clear and know your story. Be clear and know your story. Okay. All right. So let me hold on. I got a few comments here. Whoo wee. I know. I know, Pastor Gwen. I know. Ooh, I'm telling you. Clarity. Be clear. Don't let people define who you are. No, you tell them exactly who you are and you stand on that. Like they say, stand on business. I know who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm bringing, and you create the lane. Don't wait for them to make something for you. It'll never happen. It will never happen. Um, so I'm gonna share that. My God, what we teach for our congregation. Yes. But I tell you, her story is just, it was so befitting for this brew topic today. Confusion is expensive, but we do it all the time. And sometimes I think when we operate in a space of fear, we don't want to speak up when we know inside of us we have the right answer. We know what we want to say, but we get intimidated sometimes by who we may be across from, thinking that they're more powerful or know more or have more than we have. No, sometimes you just got to walk in what you know and you got to stand firm on it. And one thing you'll find out they're not as smart as you are. Nope. But they project because they may sit in certain seats that they have the answers or they know what you should be doing. But you can change the landscape of all that by walking in your authority, walking in your power, knowing who you are, knowing your story, knowing how you want it to show up in the world, knowing the vision God has given you and you do not want to deviate it because someone else think they have the vision God has given you. Do they even have a vision for themselves? Sometimes you got to ask yourself that, right? But it is so important to be clear. Be clear. And so, all right, guys, this is a section we all can take part in. This is our reflection question section. So let's talk about two questions I want to leave you with today to take along your journey. So the first one is, where in your life or business are you tolerating confusion? Ooh, where in your life or your business are you tolerating confusion? I hope after today's morning brew, I hope you walk away and think about these questions with new attitude, new purpose, clarity, no confusion, and ready to restructure. I hope so. I hope so. Deep, thanks for sharing. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with this because, like I said, it is helping me. I tell you, I am always going to be the first partaker of whatever I put forth. And today, this message is definitely for me also. Absolutely so. Question number two. If you had to explain what you do in one clear sentence, could you? If you had to explain in one clear sentence, what do you do? Could you? That's so funny because my husband always say, "Do people even know you're a publisher? Do people know that you've been doing this for X amount of years, over 18 years, and you've published over almost 600 books? Do people even know what you do?" He's really good for me. Even when I don't want to hear it, he is really good because he is one that has always, for years, put in my head, Germaine, you got big vision, but be clear. Be clear on what it is that you want to put out there, okay? So, but in answering the questions, I really want you to think about these questions. If you had to explain what you do in one clear sentence, could you? So I'm going to say this. When I think about me, you know, I want to say that I am the archetype, I'm the architect for creating and showing people the power of their story and bringing hope to them along their journey to know it can be manifested into whatever God says is for you. It's for you. So we're going to always push that and encourage people about the power of their story. And if you find value in that, then come along this journey and we'll show you how to take that one story and turn it into multiple streams of revenue. One story. That's it. Your one story. All right, guys. So, with that being said, guess what? It is that time. It is the final sip. Ready? Ready. So, in the final sip, right? Let me say hello over on Instagram. Welcome, DC 202-313-11012. Now, DC, that sounds like a phone number that I am probably going to try to call. But nevertheless, thank you for joining the Morning Brew community. It's never too late. And today we've been talking about confusion is expensive, tied into the power of your story, but clarity is definitely the answer to confusion, okay? And so I want to say this, that if you find that, you want to catch up on some other morning brews, then you know what? Make sure you go over to our uh, YouTube channel. Yes, go to our YouTube channel and just type in Morning Brew with Germaine. It will pop right up and you can see our whole vault. We have over 500 plus, almost 600 plus videos over there. So make sure you go in and you know what? Find what fits you. And if you want to continue the conversation, yes, I'm going to welcome you again. I'm going to welcome you to our school community. Stop by. You know what? The only thing that it requires is that you take a few minutes and click the join button. That's it. Join, and then all you have to do is tell me a little bit about you. You can do it in one sentence. You know what? Actually, you know what? Think about it. This question that I put out today, right? If you could explain what you do in one clear sentence, what would it be? So you know what? Go over into the school community and let me know. So then we can help cultivate that and bring it to the world if the world doesn't know your story yet. All right. So let's get into this final sip moment. I just want to leave this with you along your journey. And so confusion is not a personality trait. It's a signal. It's a signal that something needs to happen and change, right? So if you're confused, you can only imagine those you encounter are confused too. And if you need something for them to do, if you want them to connect with you or whatever, and they're confused, they're going to keep scrolling through. They will keep scrolling through. Okay, so let's look at, let's break this down, right? Signals. A signal that something needs structure. So this is what confusion is not it's not a personality trait. It's a signal. Something needs structure. Something needs refinement. Something needs courage, maybe. So you do need to be louder. You do not need, let me say this, you do not need to be louder. You just need to be clearer. That's it. But in order to be clearer, you must understand you. It starts with you, not anybody else. Take your eyes off of everybody else. It starts with you. That's it. You. All right. So, guys, y'all know how we do when we come to an end, right? We like to what? Sip slow. Yes. We like to sip slow so we can clarify what your lanes are. I want you to focus on that, clarifying what your lanes are. I talked about my lanes in here, as we're really bringing forth our Hope of Vision ecosystem or our HOV ecosystem, the three pillars, being clear. So when you decide that I want my story to be magnified, I want my story to come into the marketplace, then you know what? I need help. And it's okay to ask for help, right? But then we want you to build with intention. And with that being said, now ask yourself, what becomes possible when confusion no longer has a seat at your table? I'm going to leave that for you. And on that note, let's see. Germaine, preach. I've been to church today. Listen, I'm just doing what I'm passionate about, right? I'm just doing what I love. So, once again, thank you all for taking a moment to stop by for coffee and conversation, for joining me in the chat, and and really getting involved in the conversation with me. Thank you. And so, guess what? We'll be back again tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be here tomorrow, God willing, with another brew topic for Morning Brew. So hopefully you'll have a few minutes to just stop by for coffee and conversation or whatever you're drinking. I'll be here. Okay? God willing. Thank you. Be safe, whatever you do today. Whatever you do today. But always remember, if you need to throughout your day, just take a pause so you can pour into purpose. Okay? And on that note, we're out of here. I'll see you. Bye.